Hi there, I'm Sean Dillman. In this video, I'll be sharing my best tips and tricks for getting straight A's at school, including high school, college, and university. Most of these techniques are tried and true methods that I've used at all levels of schooling and you won't see in any other videos. At the end, I'll tell you how you can download my guide, which contains an easy-to-use checklist of the tips that I'll be discussing in this video. Before I share my tips with you, let me tell you a bit about myself so that you understand that I have expertise and that I know what I'm talking about. When I was a kid, fresh out of high school, I attended college to study computer engineering technology. I graduated at the top of my class and was on the president's list. After college, I completed an undergraduate degree in English literature, and I graduated with straight A's, meaning summa cum laude, and in the top 3% of my school. My name was published by the university in the city newspaper, the Toronto Star, along with a handful of other distinguished graduates. After graduation, I wrote the law school admission test, the LSAT, and was accepted to one of the best law schools in Canada. After completing my law degree, I was called to the bar and began working as a practicing lawyer, which is what I've been doing ever since. So when I tell you that I know how to get straight A's, you can know that I've actually done it and that you can do it too. Since becoming a lawyer, I've also worked in law-related teaching jobs, which have put me in the shoes of an instructor, teaching materials to classes of legal assistants in training, and determining how to grade my students. Not only have I seen the subject of getting straight A's from the perspective of a student, I've also seen it from the perspective of a teacher. The first thing I want to talk about is selecting programs and courses. In short, studying things that you love, or at least like, will definitely help you get straight A's. For example, if you're fascinated by how people think and you go into psychology, your interest will help keep moving you forward and excelling, particularly on days that you'd rather be hitting the beach instead of hitting the books. Conversely, if you decide to go for an engineering degree, but you don't like math and you're not interested in how things work, you may have a difficult time staying motivated, and chances are that you won't get the best grades. For me, my favorite subjects from high school were computers and English. So when I first went to college, I studied computers, and then when I first went to university, I studied English literature. It was a perfect fit. At college, my course load was predefined, and I didn't have any choice in the courses that I took. However, at university, the choice was mine, so I took classes in Renaissance literature, satire, and other genres that I was interested in. For the most part, I really enjoyed studying these specific subjects, and it helped me work harder, stay interested, and earn straight A's. Another way you can earn straight A's is by studying before your class starts. Once a course starts, you're basically in a race against the clock and against all of your other classmates. Your professors will likely be grading you on a curve, meaning that they'll adjust grades so that the majority will fall near a C or B as a class average, with a small number of D and F grades and a small number of A grades. There are a fixed number of opportunities to get A's, and to get them, you'll have to do better than most everyone else. To do this, select your courses as soon as you can, and then contact your professors to introduce yourself and request copies of the syllabus. In my experience, professors are always receptive to this request, and sometimes they even gave me tips on which materials to focus on and which ones they prefer. Once you have the syllabi, you can get your text early and start reading early, which means that you can start competing against your classmates before classes even start and get a big advantage. For me, this was a game changer because it meant that I could start reading the course materials, start memorizing content, and start producing and organizing notes. I would typically do this in the months leading up to school resuming, and by the time my courses started, I had already read all of the materials, sometimes multiple times. Because I was studying English literature at undergrad, another very important technique for me was to know how to read quickly and at a high level of comprehension. This is a subject that I've already covered in another video, so I won't repeat it all here. If you haven't already, please check out my video series called How to Read Faster: 7 Powerful Techniques That Work. Looking at the flip side of reading, writing was also very important during my undergrad. One of my best kept secrets was using text-to-speech software to proofread my essays and make revisions. This is also a subject that I've covered in another video called How to Use Text-to-Speech Software, in which I show you how to use this software and why you should be using it. Although that video is geared towards lawyers and law students, the technique works the same for everyone, even if you're not a lawyer or a law student. One additional thing that I'll mention that I didn't talk about in that video is that whenever I wrote essays, I often produced between 5 and 10 drafts. Because the writing process is different for different people and different subject areas, I won't go into the details of how to select an essay subject, formulate a thesis, choose resources, conduct research, construct arguments, and do all of the other things that go into writing an academic paper. However, I will say that there is a famous quote from the English writer Robert Graves, which I believe applies to every discipline. There is no such thing as good writing, only good rewriting. No matter what area you're in, when it comes to producing creative work, I think that this quote is right. Nobody sits down and produces a perfect piece of work on their first attempt. Producing good writing is often more a process of putting in some work, leaving it alone, coming back to it, reading it again, adding things, changing things, leaving it alone again, coming back to it later, and repeating this process until you're satisfied with the work or until you've run out of time and the submission deadline has arrived. Although going through this process takes a lot of work, it will also make you a better writer and will achieve the desired goal of getting the grades that you're wanting to get. Another way that I got the grades that I was looking for was by taking advantage of invitations to visit professors and teaching assistants during office hours, the times that they've made themselves available outside of class. Most of the classes I took at undergrad were taught by professors who had PhD students working for them, who graded papers and worked one-on-one with students. Depending on the course and how it was organized, I'd visit my professors or teaching assistants during their scheduled office hours or ask them questions about assignments and share drafts of my work. By taking this approach, I stood out with the people who were grading my work and had a much better idea of the kinds of things that they'd like to see and what kinds of things would get me higher grades. One semester, I started working on an essay as soon as it was assigned, and I visited the teaching assistant 3 times before submitting it. When I saw her the 3rd time, she'd already seen 2 drafts of my essay, and I had made all of the changes that she suggested. When I showed her my final draft, she read it and said that there wasn't anything that she changed, and she graded it, giving me an A right on the spot. She also shared with me that none of my classmates were visiting her during office hours, and she thought that they were missing a golden opportunity. This leads me to a final point on this subject, which is that it can only help your grades if the people marking your papers know you and like you. Another subject I'd like to discuss is the importance of being strategic about dropping courses if necessary. Sometimes courses are mandatory for certain programs and you can't drop them. However, if you can drop a course, you shouldn't hesitate to do it if it seems like the right thing to do, because you may end up with a poor grade if you don't. Sometimes you may find that a course is too advanced for your current knowledge or abilities, or that the person teaching the course isn't working for you, is known to be a hard marker, or both. If you can drop a course before it can hurt your GPA, it's something that you should consider, particularly if you can take the course again later when you're more prepared for it or when someone else is teaching it. Another big key to your success should be leveraging office technology to its maximum advantage. For academia, you should become adept at using software for word processing, note-keeping, and scheduling, like Microsoft Word, OneNote, and Outlook, respectively. You should also get the most out of physical hardware, such as standing desks, ergonomic keyboards, performance mice, multiple monitors, desktop scanners, smartphones, and headsets. By using technology to its full potential, you can be more productive and efficient in your work. This is also a subject that I've covered in another video, so I won't repeat it all here. If you haven't already, please check out my video series called Pre-Law Student Tech Course, Parts 1 and 2. Even if you don't plan to go to law school, this video will help you because it contains all of my best tech tips for getting the highest grades possible to increase the chances of getting into law school. If you plan to go into another discipline, the tips and tricks will still help you. Another important aspect of getting straight A's is developing and implementing good habits. School is challenging, and getting top grades requires more than just intelligence. One of the biggest challenges students face is managing their time effectively. Successful students plan their days, allocate specific devoted time for studying, and avoid procrastination by creating schedules, using planners, breaking big tasks down into smaller, manageable chunks, and prioritizing tasks based on deadlines and importance. In addition to planning, consistency is key. Rather than cramming before exams, successful students establish regular study routines to help them with the retention of information and reduce stress, particularly during exam periods. Self-care is also an important part of this piece. When you're drowning in textbooks, it's unfortunately easy to overlook self-care, but your well-being directly impacts your academic performance. Good nutrition, regular exercise, and sufficient sleep are important for your focus and overall cognitive function. As much as possible, you should aim to stay hydrated, eat a balanced diet, and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. If you want some tips from an expert on the subject, check out my video in which I review Atomic Habits by James Clear. The final subject I'll discuss is how to use AI or artificial intelligence to get straight A's. AI wasn't something that existed when I was in school, but it's now something that I use in my professional life. The first thing that I'll say about using AI is that you shouldn't use it as a substitute for completing assignments, and you should instead only use it to generate ideas, improve frameworks, and improve your own original work. Aside from the ethical and academic integrity issues that are caused by a total reliance on AI, and the danger of suffering disciplinary measures, Using AI to complete your work robs you of the opportunity to grapple with the course materials and learn from the experience. Using AI to write an essay for you is like using a forklift to lift weights for you at the gym. Just as the point of lifting weights is to test yourself and improve your strength and ability to lift, the point of schoolwork is to test you and improve your mind and ability to think. If you let a machine do it for you, you won't grow from the experience and you won't be any further ahead. Also, although AI is truly impressive technology, it's still only computer software and it can make mistakes without you knowing it. That being said, AI technology is extremely powerful, so you should definitely learn about it and learn how to use it. Just be careful and learn to use it the right way. Okay, so before I wrap up, if you liked this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please be sure to check out my other videos that I've referenced in this video, including on how to read faster and how to use text-to-speech software. If you'd like to download my simple guide, which contains an easy-to-use checklist of the tips that I've discussed in this video, please visit my website at www.seandillman.com. Thanks again for watching. As always, I'm Sean Dillman.